you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Dogging It, Mosconi Cup edition. We got thanks to Q-Tech, by the way, for being a sponsor for this week. We're gonna have a preview show looking into day number 3, and then of course talk about USA getting on the board. I had to bring back the big guns for this one, and I'm not gonna waste any time in bringing them in. Let me just turn on the chat, make sure you guys can hear me and see me all right as everyone starts to kind of trickle in here. I'm going to go and bring in my man with the best beard in all the land, my man Raymond. A couple of Hall of Famers following him up. But Mikey, you doing all right, buddy?
I'm good.
Saving the best for last, as always. Darren,
the most handsome last.
I want to start with you, Darren, right off the bat. You obviously were there for the last couple of days. Give me your thoughts on how the arena, the atmosphere, the environment, and just the competition was in general over the last few days.
Yeah, first time I've been there since 2021, and in 2021 it was busy every day, to my memory anyway, and there was more vendors. The fan zone was a lot more busy, where this time it is completely scaled down. And the first day, maybe half full, maybe 60% maximum. So the atmosphere was a bit weird. And then yesterday it was a little bit more busy yesterday, but still it's like there's no real energy and atmosphere in the arena the first 2 days. And out of all the Mosconi Cups I've played in and I've been to as a fan, I'll probably say that so far this has been the worst one.
Do y'all hear that little buzzing, or is it just me?
Yeah.
I don't know whose it is. I'm picking up something. Yeah, that's interesting, Darren, because I was like, if you're looking from online, from watching on television, I mean, I was telling Mike this the other day, from the noise that they're bringing in from the audience as far as the room mic and, the photos you're seeing online on social media. I mean, they're doing a good job as far as like just the presentation of making it seem like it's thick and energetic, and, the players are bouncing around. And Mike kind of made a point to this yesterday as far as like their antics and energy, and give me your thoughts on that, Darren, as far as like, even though it's so out of line, the players seem to be just, I don't want to say embracing, but just over animated throughout the entire process.
Yeah, I feel like they're maybe trying a little bit too hard with the celebrations and all that. I just don't feel like it's the right time or the energy to do it at times. Like certain situations, I sort of get it. But yeah, it's just like the crowd are not really into it. It's like they're waiting for something, especially from the Americans, obviously. And I don't think there's many Americans there. I think probably like 30, 40 Americans what's travelled over to what I saw. So you're definitely lacking in numbers from the Americans. But even the Europeans, I mean, obviously, I've been part of the Mosconi Cup now for like 15, 16 years, and as a player or a fan. And I'm surprised how many Europeans are missing what used to go every year. Like it's like a Mosconi Cup family. I mean, there's a big chunk of people missing what used to go to every one. So whether they're just going to wait every 2 years to go to the American one, like all the people I speak to, they all say they look forward to the one in America now than compared to the one in London. So. And Ali Pali, it's not easy to get to. I mean, it's sort of middle of nowhere in some ways, and it's cold. So I don't know whether going forward, obviously, unless it becomes a real match, and Americans start challenging the Europeans, whether it might be an idea to move it to a different location, maybe like Germany or something like that. It's definitely lost something. I mean, when I played the first time at Ali Pali in 2016, I mean, the buzz was unbelievable. I mean, there was lines outside. It was hard to get a taxi after it finished. Where now it's just very simple. I mean, there's just nobody there. It's just weird.
I'm surprised hearing that, like, as far as the Europeans feeling that way, Darren, just because they're the ones who are winning, and usually when your team is winning, you kind of have a different perspective on it. But even like I asked Mike yesterday, I said, would you feel that way if it was close or whatever? And he was like, no, not really,
Yeah, I mean, it just lacks that. Obviously, a bit disappointing from the American point of view. I mean, the first team match, was it? Not the first team match of the first day, but there was one match. I think there was leading 4-2, or they had a great chance to win one of the matches.
Yeah, the team
Maybe the
match. It
doubles.
was a team match yesterday. Yeah.
Was it the
Yesterday,
first
yeah.
team match? Yeah,
Yep.
and then yeah. So I mean, they should have got 1 point out the first day, really, and then yesterday the match obviously was huge, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, obviously, Styles had a bit of a nightmare, really. Unfortunately, I felt sorry for him yesterday, especially when you're down on the shot and people are sort of like saying shh, 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 and obviously you just when you're like struggling as well. I mean, it's like it's just brutal, you know what I mean? So you're sort of anticipating, you're sort of waiting for them to miss, and it's just as a player, it's like terrible, really.
It was, and I was hoping he would kind of like get some redemption in that team's match, just considering. Well, I mean, first the rack that he had won already in that match, and then you follow that up with being able to close out, considering how bad of an ending it was for day one. Because I mean, it couldn't have gotten any worse for him in terms of Tyler, and then to have that opportunity for redemption. But even though like I think about 3 or 4 balls in, he was already in line, and you kind of feel like, okay, he can do it, but there's never that like overwhelming sense of confidence like you have when it's Josh at the table or when it's Jay at the table, when you just know they're going to get out. With Tyler, you almost anticipate, like you almost don't want to watch because you're like, I think it's coming. You know, like I think.
Yeah, you mean the doubles yesterday?
No.
The
end of the teams. The end of the teams with when he was
yesterday.
playing.
Last rack.
Yeah.
I said to Nate, I'm sitting next to Nate, and I said the only way he can mess this rack up is the 9 ball. So when he got to the 8 ball, I was telling Nate, because obviously I played on those conditions so many times, you have to play that with follow with a touch of right English and just let it float up. Just let the cue ball float up, and you take a little half ball cut on the 9 ball. But he's trying to get really close to the 9 ball, so he's just digged into the cue ball too much. With that cloth, it just doesn't grab, and obviously he's come up short, and then he's missed the bank. Obviously, he's played the bank as sort of like a negative way of playing it, but I sort of understand it. And to be fair to David, he's made an unbelievable shot.
That was an unbelievable shot.
Cold-blooded.
When I saw what he
That's
left
probably
David
one of the best shots
with,
I've ever seen David make under pressure.
9 feet off the rail, slow rolling.
Unbelievable, especially with that pressure.
It's twice I think we've seen the Europeans end up in a spot where they've had a 9 ball like that, where it's a tough shot and they buried it. P just buried the bank. David buried that long straight in one. So it shows that they're sharp and ready. I would say that, I got a lot of messages about that position specifically, like why didn't he go one cushion? And like a lot of people don't really understand some of the dynamics that happen when you're dealing with really, really high friction cloth, and especially at distance. His error really in that rack came on getting that full hit on the 8 that far away. If you're going to get hit, if you're going to hit the 8 full, then you need to be close to it so you can really control the touch and the feel and not put yourself to where you're now subjected to the table dynamics. I think what Tyler was definitely afraid of was having a little bit of high ball and having that high, because what happens is with the low friction, your high ball will, like, let's say you hit this ball with a high ball, right? It'll stay on the cue ball longer. At your club table, that high will fall off the ball and you'll be rolling by the time you get to the short rail. But when you hit that short rail and very low friction, that high ball stays on the ball and it wants to die down. So
that's why you got floated.
Yeah. So at distance, you have to kind of hit this ball with like, if you're going to play the 1 rail, you have to almost push the ball like center and let it roll. And it's a speed shot. It can be very touchy, a hair of right. And then now you got to let like the float of the ball kind of coast you up, and then you take a cut. But it's a nervy shot. And if you're at distance, now you're incorporating a little deflection. So he's probably wanting to gear away from something so sensitive, because the speed doesn't help you. If you hit that ball harder, you're going to die faster and you're going to stay below the 9 anyways. I think there's a pattern here that I don't see a lot of people showing or talking about. It could be instructive, is this 4 rail pattern going short, long, where if you just play just a hair, but if you're really nervy, right? If you're really feeling the nerves, you play a punch draw, just a tip below, let's say a tip below center, and you go short, long below the side, go up to the short rail, and then back into the 9. That way, if you're really just feeling like you don't want to do anything,
let your stroke out.
Yeah, because even that pattern that Tyler shot, he's not getting shaped till the very end of the shot, you know. But if you just coast that ball up there, hit it nice, medium firm, tip below, just a hair below center, you stun up by the side. Now you go to the short rail and into the line of the shot, and it feels more positive. And now you can just worry about, I just got to look at the 9 and make the 9. And because this shot is only happening for American players really on very low friction conditions, it's something that they don't see a lot. So a lot of the players want to wrap the ball 2 cushions out and draw it. But again, with that slidey cloth, you're sliding off the short rail and you're sliding off the long rail, and it's going to kill your speed. And you don't get positioned till you get to the end. So if you just smash that ball just a tip below center, you can stun your way back up table and get a look. You just got to get a look at the 9 and cut it in. It's actually a pattern that comes up a lot in billiards and 3 cushion, where the high ball and the speed hurt you. If you're trying to play off the short rail and you're trying to break a safety, you use draw, and the draw gets you back straight and going up table. And just, you know, to me, it's just a pressure moment. And you know, again, you're thinking about the rest of the match and all this other stuff, and it can really compound and get negative. But it was an opportunity there for Tyler to kind of right the ship for himself. So he'll have another chance today. And you know,
it's a tough spot to be in. I would have much rather them have teams first to kind of let him get his feet warm a little bit. Mike, what say you though?
Sure.
Because he's out there just being thrown to the wolves after what's been just an absolutely devastating start to the Mosconi Cup.
Sometimes for athletes, I think, you know, they'd rather get on the bike as soon as possible as opposed to sit and wait and have more time to think about it. So I think I would love to have seen him in the team match first, at least hit a couple of balls, and then get into his singles match. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, you go out there, you know, it was really tough to watch. I mean, any of us, U.S. fans for one, and I think who just don't like to see someone struggle like that. We're like praying for ball by ball in that last rack, and he seemed to like chasing it from like the 6th, then to the 7, and then for the 7th to 8. He was kind of chasing a little bit where he'd get that last shot on the 8 that he wanted, and
if you got that full, if you get that full on the 7. And you basically just pinch stop the ball. To me, I'm expecting him. Yeah, I'm expecting him to pull the ball back another 6 to 8 inches, give himself a natural angle where he's not so full on the 8 and the speed of it. Because what are the factors? The table's fast, right? So can you make the table being fast help you? You got to get into a natural line, because if you're starting to fight the slide in these conditions where you don't get spin and friction and you're not, then that's where you get lost. And he got in a very tricky spot, very, very far and very kind of full. He was fuller than half ball, but not quite 3/4 ball. So he's in this spot where the 8 ball is going to eat a lot of your energy and you're far away. So now you got to really come up with a shot to get above the ball. And these things, if you pull the ball back 12 inches, now you have a ball where you can roll the ball and maybe just go 4 rails natural or draw it. Now you can really draw it, but you have so much angle that you know, the angle is keeping you in the game longer, and it's not as demanding of a stroke. Given the conditions, you know, so these little details really matter. You know, you can't like, you know, with higher friction tables, sticky tables, you can pump the ball around and move things and 9 balls like that. But man, they really punish you, you know, for being imprecise with your cue ball. And in that position, you have to secure the angle. Really, you got to get the natural angle on the 7 and get down table so you can get close to the 8. And if you get straight on the 8, then you can just draw it back 1 rail and go up table. If you get a little bit below, you draw it straight above. If you're, you know, you have options. But if you're at distance, you need an angle to help make the cue ball maneuver. Otherwise, you're the one having to drive it and force it around. And at distance, with that much pressure, these things compound, you know?
I felt like
just lack of confidence, wasn't
it? Yeah. I felt like that just epitomized what the Mosconi Cup has been to this point, Darren. You know, it's just there's been it's like even as someone who bet on Team Europe, right? Obviously, I like my money. I want to win my money, but it's like as a sports fan, it's like I can't. It's tough to watch. Like, come on, Tyler, get there. You know what I mean? And then he doesn't again. And you're just like, oh man, like it just kind of sucks the life out of it.
It just rolled over. It rolled over from day one. So you could feel the pressure on him. You could see it in him, in his body language. And even as a European player and a fan, I was like rooting for him. I'm thinking, I know what it feels like when you're out there. You've no confidence. You're playing on very tough conditions. The pockets are tight, and you are really choking on the cue. And that's what happened, really. He just he just choked up on the cue and just didn't get through the cue ball properly. And you could sense it, you know what I mean? But you're like, you're like pulling for him, because even though obviously I'm a rival, it's like, I mean, on the opposite side, it's more like you don't want to see good players like really, really, really struggling. You know what I mean? You want to see them play to their potential and see a good match. And obviously, they're better than what they've showed. I mean, there's one or two players what's played all right, but for me, it's more like they just look a bit disconnected again, and that's the really frustrating thing, especially on day one. I mean, they didn't look a team at all on day one.
What do you mean by that, Darren?
Well, they were all sitting in different places in the room. There wasn't on the benches. Very, very rarely where the benches are, where the Europeans were all the time. I mean, there was one sat in the crowd, and another one just disappeared after he got beat. You never saw him again. And then another player, he was like just sat on the bench on his own.
What's your take on that, Mike?
Nobody come out to one of the players what was playing a particular match. I think he was just left there for more or less the whole match, and he was like struggling a little bit. And I'm thinking like, and I think Emily actually went and got them because like for the next match there was all on the bench, and so just little things like that. I just feel like I've heard that Fedor's been taking the lead in the practice room for the last 2 or 3 days, and I'm thinking, well, you should have been doing all this like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's just they just don't look like compared to the Europeans that they look miles away.
What do you say?
I will say,
I think it's easy to look like a team when you're winning, and it's harder to look like a team when you're.
Well, I saw it from like the first match.
I watched the Europeans at the Raiders Cup when they were getting trucked. And they didn't look like a team.
But they also did not prepare.
These are the same guys who go to the Mosconi Cup and look like they've been brothers for 100 years. But
Raiders Cup, they also didn't get a chance to prepare, I think. So I think this more signals they just kind of threw it together, kind of like we did now, I think.
Yeah, it's like they have like what 3 days to prepare or something.
Yeah, not the first year they were lucky to get maybe a day and a half because I was like we went straight from Hanoi to the press conference.
The Asians didn't get any more time, and they screwed their cues together and trucked them. So
I know, but they're at home, Mike. It makes a big difference. They're playing at home. It makes a huge difference.
It's not home for Glock. It's not home for I mean, these guys they couldn't even compete.
Still in Asia. Okay. Still makes a big difference.
Can I just make a comment? I think yesterday the start of what makes the first team match more frustrating is that it was the first time that we have seen Team USA finally engage and play stylistically the way the brand of pool that you need to play to be competitive match to match in the Mosconi Cup.
Yeah, they did.
So I was really encouraged to see them fight for the positions. Like we saw Jason kicking twice in a row. Like I haven't seen that in the last 3 years, maybe in the Mosconi Cup. We finally see a back and forth of that going on. We see the players extracting ball in hand now, which is extremely valuable and put us in a position to win the match up 4-2.
Yeah, there's been some good safety battles.
Yeah, so this was, I think, a step in the right direction for how Team USA needs to approach the game. They're not just out there just trying to take stabs at running out. They're finding the moves to get control and then taking ball in hand and running out. You know what I mean? So I think as a person observing from the outside, it's a very positive thing because I started seeing this kind of more consistently. Okay, guys, let's lock in, let's engage, let's maneuver and not play dumb shots. I saw this reel that Matrim posted where Jason was talking to the Europeans before the start of yesterday's thing. And his quote was, just make good decisions. Good decisions are going to win us a lot of games and a lot of matches. They're going to take stupid shots. So he thinks you're stupid. You know, he really does. He thinks the Americans are dumb. He thinks they're going to go out there and just take flyers. And so you have to put him in a position where, you know, you're not proving him right.
Well, they have been to this point though, Ray. I mean, they do take more of the emotional response. And I think like Shane kind of set the tone for yesterday in that first match with Jay because he was really grinding it out. And when I saw that from Shane of all people, especially given the score line, it gave me some optimism because Shane was not going to go and give you an inch. No. Shane was going to move and outwork you. Make you earn it.
I messaged Shane. I told him I'm very proud of him, like how his mindset is this this tournament because he has a lot of reasons to do and repeat old patterns of checking out and not caring.
He looks engaged.
The other guys have been lackluster. Shane has been exemplary. He's
definitely.
He's executed. He's not really missed many balls. Yesterday he was positive and present and not really. You can tell that he's been the one carrying the least amount of the negativity of all the guys. You know, Sky's got pressure being captain. Federer's trying to prove himself. He has yet to establish himself here. Both Billy and Tyler are also struggling. Shane just looks like very steady. You know.
I didn't understand why Skyler was playing captain again because he didn't play well last year.
Right. Yeah,
I think it's okay. Like if you're like a character like Jason who loves it all, he loves all the attention. He loves being really busy, right? He's a busy person. He's busy in his head. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys what can't just focus on one thing. Where with Skyler, he should be focused on playing.
Yeah, I think it's low resource for Jason to do that because it's in his personality. It's very high resource for Skyler to try and do all this stuff and manage. So I think it puts him in a position to not be in his strength.
Yeah, and his game's suffering because of it.
What was that, Mike?
I said the only one on the team who really would want it.
Yeah.
So I mean, US someone doesn't have a top player of that.
Shane doesn't want to do that. Shane doesn't want that responsibility.
Shane doesn't want to do it. I don't think Federer wants to do it.
No.
You know, Tyler can't do it. I mean, he's not in the position to do that. He's not at that level of telling Shane what to do.
Yeah, but
so that's why I've said, listen, the playing captain doesn't work for the U.S. It just doesn't.
But
work.
To Darren's point, I mean, I've seen that from Jay, not just in the Mosconi Cup, but even I think about the Super Billiards Expo, where that guy's running a booth 24/7, and then he's going out there and snapping off the tournament. Like he's there for 14, 15 hours a day, just going back and forth between tournament room and running the booth and doing
but not running the booth. He's playing all day as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like he can do a lot.
He's wired for that, so you can't say, okay, who on the U.S. does that? Well, nobody.
No, so, U.S. needs a captain.
Need a captain.
U.S. needs a captain. They need a captain, and Europe doesn't need a captain because they have Jason who can shoulder the burden and has the it's easier for him to do that, and he's built the system. He's like, give me whoever. I don't care. Like just sub out the next European. They'll bring him in. They'll fall in line.
But he does care. I think so much so where he'll get them together for 2 weeks and expect that from him. And I think that's the difference.
Captaincy. Yeah, he cares about the captaincy. He doesn't care about who's on his team. Because he has options, so he could swap out another great player and win with them and get them to buy in because they all know that he knows what he's doing and they trust.
Well, I think he trusts the process and they respect his role. And that hierarchy within that group, which is not easy to do. And we see that on the American side where no one wants to check Shane at times over the last couple of years for his body language or whatever, you know what I mean? And there's so many different scenarios that are like that. I'm just using that as an example, but it's like nobody wants to be the actual leader, and some don't have the pedigree in order to do that. Like Sky is, maybe good at lineups and he's good at keeping things nice and loose and all these things. Tyler couldn't go out there and do it, even though I'm sure he would probably want to do it because he doesn't have the game to go and back it up to get the respect of those guys. Jason's got the full gambit of it. He can do it. He can do it all, and he can go out there and perform at a really high level. And he's showing that year after year. And it's like, even over the last few years when I'm thinking, man, does this guy really deserve to be in the Mosconi Cup? And then every December you just see this same dominating performance by Jason. It's unbelievable.
He did miss that 1-4 ball in the doubles, though. Pretty bad.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised. But I mean, me sat in the crowd watching, even the old crowd, like we're all just in awe of Joshua Filler. I mean, like some of the shots he's played is unbelievable. His positional play, his positional play is sick. You know what I mean?
No, it's beautiful. Yeah. And he looks the most comfortable. He's just out there, just relaxed, doing his thing.
Yeah, he's just like his timing. He hits the ball so good, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on Federer, boys, because that match with Federer was really hyped up. It looked like Federer looked like I don't want to say he didn't belong, but he looked like he was a fish out of water being in that seat. He never looked comfortable. And I know Josh is Josh, to your point, Darren, but like he looked like Josh was the alpha amongst those two.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I was in the crowd and it just looked like he didn't believe. He didn't really believe that I was going to win. And Philly he had that focus about him. You could see his demeanor around the table, just more decisive with the shots selection. Where with Federer, I felt as if he was like sort of guessing a little bit with some of his shots. Where Philly, he just knows exactly what he's doing on that table, and it's just unbelievable, really. And I think Fedor did well to get 3 racks. He sort of could have nicked the match because obviously made a 9-ball on the break, I think. And I went to the toilet at 4-2, and then I've come back. It's 4-3. I thought, oh wow.
Yeah, I would say
he pretty much sold out the first 2 games. Federer, he was sloppy in the
exactly. Yeah,
first 2 games. Lost both games, and then that was it.
Yeah, I would say
he just don't look comfortable, does he? It's weird. He don't look comfortable in these team events. I think even the year he played for Europe, he didn't play well. So
I've yet to see.
That was the COVID year.
I've yet to see Federer play what I would consider like a high quality Federer match in the Moscone. Yeah, I have yet to see one that I can recall. Last year he didn't score a point for the U.S. and he hasn't scored a point yet, so I think it's weighing on him. I think from a stylistic perspective, Federer is this kind of like Shane. You used to have this knock that Shane loves the long race, right? Because it takes him a while to like warm up and get the whole machine into gear, and then boom, when he's into gear, then it's over for you, right? I think Federer struggles in the short race because there's so many little coin flips, and so there's like maybe he feels like he doesn't have time to get into that gear, and he doesn't have that focus and intensity. Whereas somebody like Josh comes out like a laser, and he's locked in and like. He just has he wants to jump on it right away. So whatever you have to do to trick yourself into getting into that, maybe you need to play a set against the Ghost, rate like 21 games or something before the match. So you go out there, you feel like you've really, built the steam, and you walk onto the table and maybe, I don't know. I know from a component level, I think Federer's breaking the balls as good as anyone. Like when I see him hit the rack is accurate.
Oh yeah, it breaks.
Well, that's why he's been the world number 1.
If Filler had that break, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's getting more pace on the ball than I've seen him get. So he's kind of like pushed up the speed of how accurately he's hitting the break by like 10-15%. And he had a golden. He also had a bad scratch. So but like the positional overrun, getting. In a rack where you're dead out, you have to close that rack, and he overdraws, and now he's got to play safe, and then he loses the move.
Which in every other individual tournament that he would be in at a big spot, in a quarterfinal, semifinal, final, you would always see him get out there in those spots.
He's out. So for me, I didn't really have expectations of Federer going out there and dominating because he hasn't shown it yet in this place, like in this vacuum. I know Federer. I mean, on paper, it's not a skill issue. Like the guy is like technically maybe the most skilled guy alive.
Darren, you think it's between the years then, Darren?
It's got to be between the years.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Because I mean, you can play in all your US Opens and everything else, but when you're out there in that Mosconi Cup, it's just completely different.
Yeah.
You never settle. You know what I mean? It's more like you just get a little bit more comfortable, but you never really settle. Every rack feels like a final rack to win a tournament.
It has to be.
That's the best way I can explain it. It's like playing a hill match. Every rack's like a hill match. That's the best way I can explain it, really.
And that's why I think Darren was so successful in the Moscone, because he just his foundation was just really good decisions. Like he just always made and very, very focused all the time, like dogging, like being a dog after every ball, Yeah, and I think we got a little.
That's also European mentality. It's rare that I'll see Europeans come out and be gunslingers or make poor decisions. The decisions will always go in favor of them, and I think that's why, like to Jason's point earlier on, it's like the Americans can go and make emotional decisions. They can go and try for flyers. I mean, you saw that with Billy's crossbank on the 3, where he's just, why not just play the lockup cue ball, or leave them long, continue to play the game. Don't middle the decision there in that spot, because it hasn't gotten you anywhere. And at a certain point, you have to realize that, like, it's all these things that are compounded to put us in this position in the first place. So it's like you have to commit to that process of staying on the grind. And so Mike, I want to get your take on this though, Mike, because Emily mentioned the Mosconi Cup going back to Orlando next year, the Friday after Thanksgiving. Barry also had some interesting comments on there, and I want to get your take on that, because he mentioned North America, he mentioned grassroots in USA, he mentioned a lot of things.
If you want to get into this now, we can talk about matches later. But well, for one, she always says, I made the mistake of having it over Thanksgiving once. We won't do that again. So she keeps putting it like the day after Thanksgiving and acting like that doesn't affect
the same thing.
Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
it's the same thing. Yeah.
That week is a week. You travel, you go elsewhere. But anyways, they'll still sell. If they have 2,500 seats, they'll sell 2,500 seats.
We'll sell out in 2 days.
No doubt about it, which is great.
Yeah.
So as far as what Barry said, I'm anxious to find out, how much of that was news to Emily, because Barry is renowned for getting all excited and making statements and saying what they're going to do and having his team look at him going, like, what did you just tell us we're going to do? So, he talked about investing in America, trying to build up the American talent by having more events in the U.S. That's great. If there's some structure to it that feeds that idea of there's better players. I think, camps and training is more important than more tournaments in the U.S., but more tournaments certainly can't hurt. His thing about saying, maybe we make U.S. North America and include Canada and all that, he started losing me right there.
Can I just make a comment about this? To me, I'm a firm believer in this. The individuals don't matter at all if the process stays the same. If your process for preparation, which is non-existent, continues to stay the same, it doesn't matter what bodies you put in the chair. They're going to get their liver shot in, as Earl would say. Yeah. You have no chance. So until we incorporate the process, you can't in good conscience say that you're getting the best that you can possibly get out of the Americans, because you're not. So Johan proved that with a lesser team and won 2 years in a row against very capable European teams, because he instilled the process. He instilled a process, and for once, the Americans followed that process to a T. They submitted to the rule of a leader who had their respect and knew how to sail the ship into port, and got it done. Right? He achieved the mission. So since then, we have not done that at all, and since then, we've lost every single time. So it really doesn't matter if you bring Jesus Atencio or Alex Pagulayan, or you reincarnate freaking Willie Hoppy and Lassiter and whoever you want. It really doesn't matter. If you put them on a team and you don't prepare them properly for being on a team, they will lose every time to a highly capable team who prepares. So all this stuff about individuals and adding more people doesn't matter if you do not input the process. And Europe is proving that over and over again. So stop trying to solve for problems that don't exist. The problem is very clear. There is no process for the Americans, and they desperately need it. They desperately need it.
I think to a bigger point, we've talked about this at nauseum, but it's like, given the way that the American hierarchy is set up, it's like you're playing for 2 spots, maybe 1 spot, just depending. Yeah. Because Federer, Shane, and Sky are a lock every single year. Emily's going to go and put him on the team no matter what. And Sky's shown it, whether he makes it on points or otherwise. And then with this player captain, you've shown that he's going to go and favor towards his friends. So it's like it takes.
Yeah, but I can't see him being captain again. Can you?
No, you can't.
No, I can't. No,
he's no chance of being captain next year.
But you would still like his chances to be on the team no matter what, whether he made it on points or otherwise.
Yeah.
Well, look at him and Shane and Sky playing together. That was finally like a breath of to me, I love watching them play because they're very complementary players. To me, that was my doubles pair to anchor day one. I think that's our best doubles pair because they've been to the World Cup final 3 times and they have a lot of experience, and they just support each other well. And they Sky trusts Shane. Shane gets up there, does what he says, and Sky defers to him. He's the guy. He's the leader, and he goes up there and executes and can bank, which is a very good skill in certain spots. You need to be able to rip a bank and get back in shape and all this other stuff. So they're a fantastic pairing. And we got to see a little bit of, rapport and experience come up. To me, that would have been, I think, the team I put up at the end of day one, just because I feel like, hey, I want to get a point, and I have a feeling I'm going to win a point no matter what. Now, it does feel good to beat Jason and Filler. But
it almost feels like it almost felt like it was too little, too late. Like because in any other spot, when you got those 2 guys beating Josh and Jason, that could be a momentum shifter. Whereas right now it's kind of like, okay, good job, guys. On to the next one. Yeah. That's what it felt like.
You got to do three or four more. You know what I mean? Before you can start feeling good about it. Yeah. So I think early in the Cup, it's vital to get a couple points on the board. And that to me is a pair that I just feel like they're always going to win a point. They always tend to win a point. Those two together, they beat the Spaniards a couple years ago when they played and they matched up. And at that point, I think the Spaniards were World Cup champions. I just trust those guys against really anyone alive, So if for my money, I'm putting them up day one to anchor them and get us a point on the board, just to get a positive beat going.
Darren, what was your take on the Americans getting on there, and how was like the fan reaction as far as like the enthusiasm level out there once they finally got on the board?
Yeah, I mean, they're just relieved. I think everybody just happy for them. But obviously, then they pulled the plug, didn't they? So it was a bit of there was a lot of booing.
I was surprised. I thought they would at least let them
go get the
booing,
7. That's for sure.
Was there?
A lot of people were really pissed off, big time.
I bet. Yeah, I mean,
because there was some people in the crowd. I think it's their first time at the Moscone, and they're like just sat there thinking, "What the hell's going on here?" So I had to tell them. I said, "Oh, that's it." Which is what they mean. That's it. We've paid to watch 5 games. I said, "Well," "you'll have to come back tomorrow." So "Oh, we're not coming back tomorrow." So they was really pissed. You know what I mean?
I can imagine.
I
think it was their first time. I think it's their first time at the Moscone. So. Maybe you might not see them again.
I was
it's just weird. Like it's hard to explain.
Come for day one. It's the only guarantee.
Yeah,
day one's the only guarantee.
It's just.
So it's not the first time they've done. I just think they looked at it and said, "We need to get to the 4th day. If we have Europe still needs 5 wins, we'll get to the 4th day. If it's 4." Then you might cut off today at 2 matches if Europe wins the 2 matches.
Well, was it 6-1? 6-1, right?
6-1.
It's 6-1.
Yeah, so
they won't.
If they'll
let them get to 9, but they won't let
them get to 10.
So if they played yesterday and they were up 7-1, you could have 2 matches today and pull the plug. So they're trying to play the best. Spread over 3 days. Right? That's what
I understand why they're doing it. I mean, it's the right thing to do because it costs them too much money to not go to day 4. But going back to your point about what is it, Canada and Mexico and that? I mean, that'd be a load of bullshit. I mean, that'd just ruin it for me.
Yeah.
But I don't think those guys. Maybe Jesus. I haven't seen enough of him, but none of those guys are any better than what you've already got.
I don't think Alex at this point would be a value
add.
Alex will be great in terms of the entertainment side of it. No, even a John Moore for that matter.
Look, John Moore's a good player, but is he much better than Tyler? I don't think so. Then obviously Alex. I mean, Alex 10, 15 years ago. Then but not now.
Of course.
He plays at my speed now.
I think.
What, Darren, you would get on Team USA, buddy. Let me tell you. All right, you would for sure get on Team USA.
If I played full time, maybe, but it wouldn't be easy. I mean, it's like I've heard Torsten as well. I mean, that can't be true, can it? Surely.
Let's jump on into the matches today, boys. Like we mentioned, Tyler, who has not had a great Mosconi Cup, is starting off. We got him against a guy who I've been really impressed with, Mike Moritz. Give me your thoughts on the way this kid has been delivering and what you expect for this first singles to start off day number 3.
Well, it's you want to see Tyler play well. You want to see him acquit himself well. If you're Moritz, Jason's telling him, listen, leave this guy as many tough shots as you can, play as many safes as you can, make him go off the rails as quickly as you can. And Moritz has the game to run out. He also has the game to suffocate somebody and punish them. And I think, that's, without trying to be a bully, that's what you would want to do is how quickly can I get in this guy's head? If you're the European player, that's what I would be thinking. If you're Tyler, you got to say, he ran through, one rack into teams and, he made 17 out of 18 balls yesterday, the 18th ball. So, he just has to concentrate on not putting more pressure on himself the next ball and the next ball. Each ball's got to be the same ball. Very easy to say, but we'll see. I mean, he's a confident, strong. So, I think he's going to come out there
at times,
confident.
sure. At times he can be, but then at times he can also be what looks like a mental basket case, Mike. And we've seen that towards the tail end of important shots and important matches and big pressure situations. And I agree with you. Like, he can be mentally sharp. But when I saw him in that first ranking teams, I thought, there you go, man, go get you some, but there was like, even though like I said yesterday, when I'm rooting for the guy to go and get out at Hill, but you never felt comfortable. And then again, he shits all over himself, and it's Moritz doesn't even have to try to do anything other than just handle his own business, play his own game. The fans and Tyler on his own are going to get in his own head. Moritz don't have to care about that at all.
So, and he knows that going in. So I'd be interested to talk to him after today and find out what did he do to get himself ready for today? I'd be really interested to know what, I mean, Darren, have you ever been in a situation you were in, big matches and you just felt like you couldn't make a ball? How did you get through it?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? You just you just try and spend as much time as you can alone, really, and just maybe take a nice long walk. You know what I mean? Just try and think of the positive things. Stick to your basics. That's the key. I mean, if you're struggling, you're struggling. But what you don't do, you just make it as difficult as you can for your opponent. So you change your game. You play a lot more safeties. You play a lot more cautious. And you just don't. You can grind it out, because even in a race to 5, you can still win against anybody, whether you're playing good or bad, really. So you just obviously it's not a nice feeling, and obviously there's no secret to it, really. It's just you just got to somehow clear your head, spend a little bit of time on the practice table, maybe spend 20 minutes alone. And just remember your basics, and if it's good enough, it's good enough. But when you're struggling, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? You just got to find some of what's worked in the past.
I gave this advice. Go ahead, Mike.
If you're his teammates, are you staying away from him completely?
I'll probably give him a little bit more space. I'll obviously encourage him as much as you can, but maybe just leave him alone, like for 5-10 minutes before the game, and just maybe not even come to the table like every rack. You know what I mean? Just let him stay in his own bubble.
Unless he calls for you. And I think that's what
the
US has been doing.
But see, that's where I feel like Tyler's
just having the presence there is more important. Like, if you can see them in your high line, then I think that's enough. You know what I mean?
That's where I feel like Tyler can be at his best whenever he is kind of that lone wolf kind of guy. But this is where I feel like he's had this personality complex as far as his role in the team, because he's been the guy speaking up in the press conference. He's been the guy going in, high-fiving everyone in between racks. But then when he's playing against Billy or playing with Billy, he's just there like the Statue of Liberty, just not wanting to give an inch, but then his face turning all red. It's like you don't know which way you want to go and be. You don't know which person you want to be depending on the time. And so but I certainly like his chances a lot better if he were to go and just be left alone, to your point, Darren. Ray, you got a good relationship with Tyler. What do you expect out of him?
I gave this advice to somebody the other day, because we were playing a practice set and they were really frustrated and negative and carrying it over. And I'm like, look, you can't have the belief that you need to feel good to play good, right? A lot of times we have this subconscious idea that you have to feel good in order to play good. A lot of times you have to play good to get yourself to feel good, and then you play really good, But if you say that you have to feel good to play good, then you remove yourself from the opportunity to play good if you're not feeling good. And in this situation is when you're going to feel the worst, right? So you have to let go of that idea and say, I'm just going to think smart, play objectively, like think of it as an algorithm. This is the right shot, play the right shot, right? And if you do that, you can work yourself into a position. You give yourself the opportunity to work yourself into a position where you start to feel relaxed and feel good. And then you can go out there and execute balls and take the cap that you have on yourself off of the high parts of your game. So that's really important, is to just kind of stay in the moment, really be focused on right choices. If I can make smart choices and not be emotional at all, then maybe I can get to the point where the feelings catch up to the good choices and we build a little momentum.
Well, if you make good choices, then win or lose, you'll take it, right? Because if sport will end up being whatever it'll be, but as long as you don't give them more opportunities than what they've earned, then I'm fine with that. And those are things you can take mental positives out of, for sure.
Sure. And so that's the approach you have to take, I think, and let go of this other stuff. I think for Moritz, it's best case scenario, right? He's had a really comfortable start to his Mosconi Cup career and campaign, and I think it's going to be a foundational thing where now he has the potential to be a dangerous player for them because he breaks super well, has really clean technique. His process is smooth and continuable and repeatable.
And he looks cold-blooded, man. He looks like he don't have.
Both rookies have looked really good.
Yeah. Both have. He just had one little bobble thing, but he also came with a super big bank that just split the pocket, and he was cheering when the ball was halfway down the table. He knew he had split it.
But I mean, what I mean is that they look really comfortable at the table.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It helps when you got that lead starting off from the jump, though, Darren. Like they never put any heat on them whatsoever. But out of the two, though, I've really enjoyed watching Moritz play, and I love Pius as well. But and he has come with some great shots, but it just seems like Moritz hasn't felt the moment, Whereas
he'll find out in the singles.
Will he? Yeah. Even despite all that, you feel like?
Oh yeah, don't worry about that. It's his first singles, right?
It is, yeah.
It's different when you're on your own.
Let's talk about the doubles
have Jason now and you're here.
Nah, no kidding. Let's jump over the doubles here, boys. We got David and Pius against Federer and Billy. Darren, I want to start with you. It's an interesting lineup with Federer and Billy. And obviously Pius is being his first doubles out there. Give me your thoughts on this matchup heading into day number 3.
Billy's playing with who?
Federer.
Okay. Pegis and David?
Yeah.
Probably 50-50, I think, this match. Pegis and David. Yeah, I mean, you're just thinking about Billy, aren't you? Will Billy hold up? That's the key. I mean, fundamentally, he's not great, is he? I mean, obviously, he's got all the shots. He's got the game, but you just worry about him about making the balls when he's under that pressure. But if he just holds his end of the bargain, then I think it's 50-50. But it's a big game, isn't it, really? But what I will say, going back just a little bit, is that I think Tyler's had a result by getting brought off last night, because today he gets to play that first team match, right?
Yep.
So that will definitely help Tyler.
No. They're going right into singles.
Straight to singles?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still think it's better. The team match.
I still think it's better for Tyler playing today than it was yesterday, especially after what happened.
Sure.
And then I think the doubles 50-50. Well, I think Europe will win the singles, the first singles. So I'll pick USA to win the doubles, but it'd be close, like 5-4.
Okay, Mike, what say you?
See, what do we have on tap? Well, be over under how many matches we're going to have today. They've got how many do they have scheduled? I don't.
Well, they have 5 scheduled, but they've had 5 scheduled, and they haven't hit them yet. So, I think obviously once they get to 9, they're going to go on top no matter what. Yeah,
6-1 now.
Yeah.
So you're guaranteed the first 3 matches.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd love to see Federer and Billy beat Pius and David. I think David's just, he's so comfortable at this point. He'll be a great help to Pius. Federer hasn't looked really strong, and Billy needs help. I think he needs that good partner. Federer's got to step up his game to make that partnership work. The team match, I think USA, I'll take the USA in the team match. I think it's going to go 4 matches.
Look, it's so interesting because outside of the Mosconi Cup, when you look at on paper these 4 guys, you would say that the Americans have the highest high, but they probably also have the lowest low, in terms of Billy. And so when you think about David and Pius, I felt like out of Europeans, those 2 guys have shown little cracks. I'm not saying big ones, but they've had misses throughout this Mosconi Cup where other guys have just looked, laser focused like Josh. I think Federer's highest high, I haven't seen in the Mosconi Cup, and I haven't seen it at any point in the Mosconi Cup, whether he's by himself or whether he's with someone or otherwise. I haven't seen his highest gear, and that's whenever he's had Shane there next to him. That's whenever he's been playing up against Federer by himself. It's like no matter the dynamic, he's been shrinking, it feels like to me. Now, when you pair that up with Billy, unless they can just stay absolutely mentally free and loose, that's the only chance I feel like that they have, because despite the fact that Pius and David have made a few mistakes throughout this Mosconi Cup, I trust their steadiness a lot more. I don't trust them doing this number here. I trust them doing this number here. And so for that matter, I would probably give the edge to the Europeans, but man, do the Americans need it? I mean, and I think that Matchroom needs it as well, because the Americans got to get their shit together at some point. And if you're being the world number one and you're praising yourself in that regard, and you're wearing that hat, you have to go and show up, man. You have to go and win these matches you're supposed to go and win. I think it's close to even, but I'm still taking the Europeans in this matchup. Ray, what say you?
On the American side, it's two guys we've seen struggling so far during the Cup. David and Pius have both looked very comfortable. David has been just a glue guy, I think, for that team, just kind of like supporting and filling in and just kind of being whatever you guys need. And I think both their personalities are kind of supportive. So I think you'd probably give the advantage to Pius and David, just because they're clipping at a little bit higher level, you know what I mean, and playing comfortable. I think Billy and Federer have a good rapport and relationship. They're buddies off the table, and that's helpful. That really helps a lot when you're going out there and playing doubles. So I'm hopeful that they kind of go out there and show their game, because if they do, then they can definitely win, But it's just about execution, and they really have to just show up and just execute. Both guys have struggled, I think. Billy a little bit more, but Federer's breaking the balls well. If he gets some more opportunities after the break, and they can again continue to approach the game where they're taking control and prioritizing that, then race to 5, but they have to be out there and be able to run the balls as well.
I also feel like in this matchup, like David will make sure PS is as comfortable with his choices and his process as possible. Like he's really good at making the other guy feel like whatever decision you make, I'll be okay, and not overcomplicating it, not overthinking it. You do you, and then I'll be able to handle it no matter what. There won't be so much talking and positional play and all these things. And I also feel like on the American side, there's a lot of pressure there, man. There's a lot of pressure, and they put themselves in that spot given the score line from the very beginning. But USA has to come away with the victory there. Match number 10, boys, is going to be teams. Obviously, it's a bit of a coin flip, so I'm just going to kind of skip over that one. Match number 11, though, if we get there, is going to be David versus SVB. Darren, what do you think about that matchup between those two gentlemen?
Oh, is that the lineup? David against SVB?
Yeah, match number 11.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Shane.
He's been playing real good. Mike, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, Shane looked so good yesterday, and like Darren was talking about, guy to go out there and play that 50, grindy, I can battle with you 50 ball for ball.
Rack number 1.
Lock you up and try to make you fall. I can do whatever I want to do. And Jason didn't even look like he was prepared for that, because the Americans are not known for taking that approach to the game. I want to see more players today take that approach. Now, if Shane plays anywhere near today like he played yesterday, then yeah, I like him over David pretty, not convincingly score-wise, but, as a heavy favorite.
Ray?
Yeah, if you look back at some of the matches Shane's played, even though he lost a point with Federer, he buried a couple really tough balls, that 2 9-balls that were really tough, and high pressure.
Yeah.
Frozen to the cushion and long straight over the distance of the table. And then another one where Federer kind of left him long and he had to cut a 9-ball down the rail, and he buried them and looked composed. And then yesterday engaged a lot with the safety play. And I think he looks as positive as I've ever seen him in the Mosconi Cup, really, outside of his very first early years. So, I mean, I think he's playing exceptional. He doesn't really look like he's fading. He's taking any heat, but he's staying engaged, which I think is very important. He's got a big break. He's got all the skills. He's got tons of experience. I think the experience is showing. It's carrying him in and letting him just play his game. And I think if anything, a bright spot for this Mosconi Cup. I'm very proud of just his mindset. So I think he's favored pretty much against anybody. Maybe coin flip with Josh, but we won't see that singles match until day 4, likely, if at all. I think I like him over David. And we just got to win the first point. That's really the focus right now.
Shane's got to stay committed to that process. That's for sure, because David for sure will be. And even if David struggles even a little bit, one thing that I really admire about David is his commitment to being able to squeeze and being able to move and making right decisions, And so he doesn't get too high or too low. He doesn't let the emotion of it go and dictate that process, where I feel like Shane can go and check out at times. Now, I haven't seen it in this Mosconi Cup, and it has been great to see him so positive and engaged, and also kind of like, not kind of, but play up to the standard that we expect of Shane year in and year out, and that we have not seen in the Mosconi Cup. I think this match is going to be very dependent on what the scoreline is, depending on how it'll go. I think if Team Europe runs away with it, give me David in that matchup. If they win the first 3, if they don't, or if USA wins a couple, then give me Shane in that matchup, because I feel like that emotion will go and show, especially if the Europeans get 2 out of the first 3. And I hate to say it, but that's the way that it can be. And David, to his credit, I know we've had a little bit of shake here and there. You can just rely on him, and he's not afraid of that grind. And obviously we saw yesterday at the end of that teams match where he can come with a big pressure shot, which I thought to me was
impressive.
Just a sick roll of a ball, you know what I mean? To make that ball in the upper right hand corner at that speed. So especially given the moment, man, Hill.
I'm terrified of that ball. Long straight in, frozen in the back.
Yeah. I would have been all right if he missed it. I would have been good if David missed it, because that was tough, man.
He wasn't favorite to make it. Let's put it that way.
No.
I'd say so. Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, it's the old Sammy Sosa quote talking about Mark McGuire. He said, sometimes you just have to take off your hat and hand it to him.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we buried it. I mean, impressive shot.
Cold-blooded. The last doubles of the day, boys, is going to be Moritz and Filler against Federer and Sky. Mike, what say you on this matchup if we even get to it?
If we get to it, it'd be a good match. There'd be some heat in that match. I mean, you got the 2 German guys, who are buddy again, it seems, against Federer and Sky, which is a really good matchup. If Federer, again, it really depends on which Federer we see today, and we'll find that out, early on. He's got to be, he's got to be a confident, sharp shooting Federer, and then he and Sky are super dangerous. Yeah. So we'll win this match with Billy. How he plays in that match with Billy will determine to me whether I favor them in this match against Moritz and Filler.
Well, you can't have Federer being in 3 doubles and not come away with a victory there, especially where he's even him with Shane, you'd like their chances. Him with Sky, you'd like the chances. Him with Billy, he's going to have to carry him a little bit, but it's like Federer has to pull his weight. Federer has to step up here. Has to.
Darren, he didn't last year, so.
Yeah. What do you say, Darren?
Yeah, it's a tough one, this one. I think on paper it looks like 50-50, but I just think with Filler's confidence and Moritz getting guided by Filler, I just slightly favour those 2, really. I think, but yeah, it could be a classic match, this one. I think on paper, out of all the doubles, this looks the best, in my opinion. I think you might have the with the exception of Shane and Skyler, it might be the best doubles pairing, I think. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that if that comes along. I think it'd be a good test for Moritz as well. You know what I mean? Playing against 2 of their best players, and obviously playing with Filler. So, and it might be the point where you're bringing it home. So it could be, but it'd be interesting. Like, so when is the team match?
In the third one,
third slot today.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so that could be the last match, obviously, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be so one-sided today. I think so. There's a possible of 5 matches today.
How many points do you think Team USA gets after today, Darren? Like, what do you think the scoreline is going to be after?
I think they get at least 2. I think they get at least 2. I feel like there's a little bit less pressure on America now, so they can just go out there and just play with a bit more freedom. And and it depends how Europe approach it, whether they're trying to defend the lead or just try and be a little bit too cautious, which is easy to do. Thinking that just make sure that we don't lose 4-1, for example, on this day. So I think it'll be. I think the cup should be closer. I mean, 6-1's a bit harsh on America, really. So I'll probably say 3-2 to Europe if they actually play all the matches today. So then, obviously, it'd be what 9-3. 9-3. I mean, it's not great, is it?
No. Ray, what say you? What do you think? What do you think the scoreline is going to be after day number 3?
Well, I mean, just that last doubles pairing, I think, is important. I wonder if they're going to bring out the unicorn stuffed animal that they had at the World Cup, Josh and Moritz. That'll be interesting. No, I think I like Shane, and I'd love to see the Americans get off to an early 1 or 2 points. Like if they can win one, I think Sky said it yesterday. If we can win 2 for every 1 that they win, then it's double hill. So I think that has to be the mentality. You got to go out there and score points. Everybody has 0 points except Shane and Sky. They have a half a point. You came here to score points, so you got to go up there and score points. Everybody's due a point, and they just got to treat it like that. They got to go out there and bring home a point. So Tyler, I think, will be looking forward for a chance to play singles, not have to worry about a double situation or a team situation. Just go out there and play. Hopefully, he can get comfortable and get opportunities off his break and kind of redeem himself and bring a point. And then that'll be massive for Team USA. If he wins that first match, then you'll likely see us get 3, I think, for the day. If he doesn't, then I think it's 2 or worse. So very, very important first match.
Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it go. I mean, the only way it goes 5 matches today if U.S. wins 2 out of the first 4, obviously. Yeah. So, where are those 2 going to come from? I think Shane certainly would give you the best chance out of the first 4, the team match gives you another good chance. So I think there's a pretty good shot they can go 2-2 on the first 4. And again, I would just like to see Tyler win his match, period, for no other reason than to see Tyler win his match.
And what about if it's 8-4? If it's 8-4, for example, they get pulled off or they keep playing because they've still got matches to play.
They'll probably.
I think they would. I think if it's 8-4.
Yeah, they'll be done. They're not going to go past 5 no matter what. I don't think.
Really?
Yeah. No, they won't go past 5. Yeah. 8-4,
so tomorrow could be a very long one.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah, we hope so.
At least from a fan standpoint.
Before, I'd be the happiest guy in the world.
I mean, really, USA's got to win 4-1 today to have.
Yeah, they really do.
Look, right. They got to get their shit together, and you think if you're looking at some of these matchups, they got the opportunity to. I like the Sky and Federer matchup at the end, although they're up against the Germans. I like Shane's spot there. You would figure an experienced guy in Tyler versus Moritz, although Tyler has been playing terrible. And Federer's got to step up. But look, whatever hope and expectation I've had of the Americans, they just haven't delivered, plain and simple. And it's been consistently where they haven't delivered. I think they get 1 today. I think it'll be 9-2 by the time it's said and done. And I think they'll go and pull it after that. I hate to say it. I hope it is closer. I would love to see the Americans make a match out of this. And if they win 4-1, then let's go. I'm going to be really looking forward to day number 4. But there's been nothing outside of Shane playing to give me any kind of
evidence.
Logical.
My biggest worry coming into this Mosconi Cup is that there was too many Americans not in good form, where the Europeans, a lot of them come here in good form. So that was my worry coming into the Mosconi Cup, is that quite a few of the Americans have not had a good year. So it's maybe it's carried over a little bit.
And if I'm the Americans, I'm trying to just rinse and repeat what we did yesterday. Even though we lost that team match, you're in a position to win. So you should just take that as a building ground and be like, hey, repeat the same style, same process in the team match and get a point on the board. You put yourself in a spot to win. You want to be in that spot. Even if you butcher the last ball, whatever, you put yourself in a spot to close the match and win. Keep doing that.
All right, boys. Matches kick off in a little under an hour from now. We appreciate all you guys and gals for hanging out with us. We were able to see all the comments in the chat, so keep them coming. We'll try to do a post game depending on what time they finish today. Go enjoy the rest of the Mosconi Cup. We'll see all y'all a little